Kind of makes it look really wide at this point, but once you get the wheels on, it kind of looks more normal. Excuse me a second. A little bit warm here in the studio. Let's have a drink. And do the same thing on this side, starting with the thread lock. Now this one is a bit more awkward because the screws are in there, right on top of the servo. This first screw is fairly easy, just because I can use the bracket itself to hold it in place. Now, the second one will be a bit harder because I've now got to sort of get a finger in, which actually I can't do very easily. So just hopefully hold it on the end. That was lucky. If you have a problem with something like that, by the way, then a couple of tips. A little bit of blue tack, for example, on the end. Can work wonders, or even I mean you can use magnetized screwdrivers, but they sometimes get really awkward. But one of the things you can do is just put a little tiny bit of thread lock on the end there. It's sticky. It'll hold the screw at least well enough. The fact that thread lock in the slot isn't really a problem. If it becomes a problem, it will scrape out really easily after the fact. And I've just put that one on backwards, so I've got to take it out again. Got no choice but to take it out because they are the screws have to go into the skirt, so the other end, this end I'm holding onto, has to match up with the holes in the skirt, and if they don't, you can't fasten the skirt on. So not a lot of space between that bracket and the servo. They're touching. Mind you, that servo is hard mounted, so normally you wouldn't want that. Normally you don't like things touching your servos because they transfer vibration. That servo is hard mounted anyway, and actually that is not quite touching it, but it's really close. It may be in contact with the screw, but that screw is in any case is being held solid, so gotta watch this. I nearly put that in. Well, I did put it in the wrong way around because I've reversed the chassis. I got fooled again, not quite as badly as last time. When I eventually, if I ever build sort of lots more of these things, maybe I'll get that in the right place the first time. Yeah, and maybe I won't. This is a bit like a great big Meccano kit, really, where you're building a plan as opposed to just building what you feel like. Okay, so that's that section complete. We're now finished section 30. And now it's on about the battery holder. The battery holder? Yeah, the battery holder and the fake tank in which the some of the electronics get mounted, which is this thing here. And I may or may not mount the electronics just yet. Think about that. However, let's start by taking this off and examining it, and we'll decide whether to mount the speed controller at the same time, because that's what essentially goes here. And I'm going to want this piece as well, which I guess is some sort of fake battery box. What I might think about is perhaps doing something like mounting the receiver in here. In this area, rather than in the cab, which would then potentially allow me to build a Moscow, or at least a cab with a floor in it. I'll have to think about that. So this with this and this all kind of go together. So I want BB6. I want 2 BB6 screws. Why do I want 2 BB6 screws? BC, those two there. Okay, which means I need another part out as well. And this one, which is the other end of the battery holder. That goes on there, so your battery slips in there, under there, that clips down, holds the battery because it's upside down. Right, so BB6, BC, BB6, yeah, BB6, BB6, BB is going to be 3 by 10mm. That's the self-tapping screws out of here, of which I can see one. Hopefully there's another one. Yep, there are. Oh, there's 3 in there. Okay. Perhaps one of those is a spare. That's one. That's the other. Oh, that's t'other is perhaps correct, more correct. The next ones I want are BC, so that's not in this thing at all. I'll also want the little clip. So I want out of BC, I want 4 BC ones, which are the self-tapping ones out of here. One, come on, 2, don't mix them up, 3, 4, they're shorter so they're not that easy to mix up, but just to be careful. And let me get that little retaining clip out as well. That's going to be in this bag here, bag E, metal E. Not that one, not that one, it's that one. And some wheel bearings in there by the looks of it. least I'm assuming that's what they are. Okay, so that clip there is what holds this in place. It goes through like that. Only that's not going to work too well. So I'm going to try and do is twist that twist around a little bit more. Or am I going to have to unscrew it and try and screw it in a different place? Oh, yeah, I'll actually just unscrew it a little bit. It's tight enough. Okay, what you do is you need to have the hole that goes through it in such a way that you can actually get the clip to go through. Probably that way is best. So that it goes past this elbow. It's clipped in, holds in place like that. So it's a self sort of locking clip. That can now not come off. Let me fasten this in place with the two BB6 screws, which are these long ones. Batteries are quite heavy, so that's long screws I guess for that. And what we do is, I'll be using a nickel cadmium battery for this, not lithium polymer batteries. I could actually use lithium polymer batteries. The speed controller is rated for them that I've got, but these are nickel metal hydride batteries. It's this one's 3300 milliamp hours. This will go all day in this truck without a problem. So I've got a couple of these anyway, one in each truck of course, but I can also use this in a 6-wheel tool as well. Which is quite convenient. I do like to have all my batteries the same if I can. It's a useful sort of thing to have. You can interchange the batteries then. Which reminds me, I could probably do with giving one of them a maintenance charge. Now then, what we're going to do now is mount this to this. Like that, like that. Again, these are plastic, don't want to be cranking them down tightly, so just till it bottoms out and then lock it in place. And this one, so these are often, as I've noticed before, that's what am I doing? I'm looking at that thinking, that's twisted. It looks twisted. It definitely is twisted. I don't know if it's meant to be. Okay, yes, it will move slightly. So we'll straighten that out. There we go. And then these are often universal parts, so there's two screw holes there which don't get used in this particular one. It probably means that they'll get used on something else. I'm going to put this, am I going to put this there now, or am I going to see about the, so that would actually go on there, and we'll mount that in a minute, but I am just thinking, let me get the speed controller out. and I'm sure I've got one of these. So this is a speed controller with a battery eliminator circuit, so it's got an on-off switch on it as well. So I'm going to open this up. I don't have any. The don't have bit is I don't have any scissors here. I'm wondering if it's been heat sealed all the way around. Okay, so here's the dangerous bit. Normally you should really do this with a pair of scissors. A lot safer. Excuse me. Ah! Now I find afterwards. That's the way of it. Okay. I found out how to open it once I've busted it. Yeah, that's clever. Okay, speed controller. Speed controller will sit there. Does sit there quite nicely actually. And then this is the on-off switch, the power switch. That's on, that's off. And the idea being that that will mount through there like that. Now I don't think there's a bezel for the top of this. I think the idea is that the bezel comes with the switch mount, but I'm just going to have a look and just a quick check. In actual fact, I don't need to have a quick check because it would have told me. There's no part number on there, so do I want to mount that there? Answer to that is probably yes, because that's kind of how it's been mounted on the other, on the Scania, so we'll mount it in the same place. It doesn't actually look too bad when that's sat down by the side of it. That is, yeah, it does sit sort of face up. I think something like that there. How does that go in? There, like that, okay. So you can see it, but you can always sort of cover the label up if you need to do so. I'm not going to stick that down on there for the moment, I don't think. But what I am going to do is put this screw in there, because it'll be easier to do that at this moment in time than afterwards. Actually, I suppose I could always mount the speed controller, double-sided sticky tape. The switch screws. There isn't any switch screws. Have I got any screws that match that? I don't want to take any from there. Okay, if the answer is I don't have any screws at this moment in time, then I'm not going to bother trying to find some. We'll sort it later.